It's like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face.
You're listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast, where a few self-proclaimed piratical nerds running a friendly local game store discuss the board, card, and tabletop gaming community they love and serve. We tend to be the goofy, gregarious, and non-grindy gaming geeks of the community. Welcome. Folks, thank you for joining us again at the Funkatronic Rex Games and More podcasts. Great to have you here. My name is Court. I'm your host with the most. I sell you things. I learn you things. I play games, and I get paid. I have the greatest job in the world. I do. I work here at Funkatronic Rex Games and More. This is our podcast. Thank you for being here. To my left, I have my main man, Michael in the house, and he, if anybody sells you things, it's him.
I came up with the title in my head. I'm the seller of things.
Is this your know-what name?
He who sells you the things.
things.
I'll have to do the translation, and then in a year I'll be like, I got it, I find it, and then the joke would have been old, and so like it would have been like resurrected from the dead.
Michael, the reptilian master that sells you things. No, that sells you implements of war.
Implements of war.
There you go.
Wow.
You're welcome.
See, the funny thing, though, is we're time traveling again because this is going to be in the future episode. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, yes, Michael, thank you for being here, as always. Always appreciate your time and your words of wisdom. To my right, the Funk Father himself. You know him, you love him. Lord Vader in the house. And I have to call you this because of a Nat 20. So,
a beautiful
folks,
Nat 20
from now on, for the rest of the year, I'm going to be referring to Mike as Lord Vader. So here we go. Lord Vader in the house. Yay!
That was the example one, right?
Yay, Lord Vader.
He's done that to me like 3
I keep missing the button. Here, Lord Vader.
Can we get in like an Imperial March button?
Yeah.
I would, but they would sue us.
Oh, that's fair.
We can't do it.
What if it's
Can we
like
get a poorly rendered version?
Yeah, can't you just like mouth band the Imperial March?
I could do it a little different, like bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam.
You could do it on the recorder. That's what all the...
Yes.
I think that might lose some of the menace that I'm looking for in Lord Vader, but I appreciate this. I mean, maybe mouth harp. No?
Have you heard the My Heart Will Go On, the recorder?
Yes.
Yes, so good. It's so good.
They have so many.
So bad.
Oh, it's
I
so
love
good.
the universe.
Anyways, Lord Vader.
Yeah.
In the house. Yes.
It's true.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's good to be
Oh,
me.
my gosh. And across, we have in the hot seat, big welcome, big shout out. We have Kelsey, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go!
Woo! In the house.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've been a store friend for a while now.
I know,
and
almost a year.
Do you know the exact date?
I don't know the exact date, but it was
Okay.
sometime in September of last year.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
that
you
sounds right.
remember?
September.
That's where
That's all I know. Yeah, you've been here with us for almost a year, and I remember the day you walked in, I think, or at least one of the first days that you walked in. So just a little intro. You've been with us for almost a year, hanging out in the shop. You're a fantastic artist. You are a fantastic terrain painter, which we've seen, which kind of was how we shanghaied you into all of this. You've been recently introduced and now heavy into magic.
Yes.
And what else? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I was originally a D&D player. I mean, and still am. But that was my first sort of purvey into RPG gaming. I played a lot of board games growing up, card games. We played a lot of family-related games, and then got into D&D as a adventure sort of game, and really loved D&D and got very into like nerd culture on the D&D side.
Yeah.
And then was looking for another place to play D&D when my home group sort of disbanded due to life. And so came up here and found you guys and have gotten into lots of other things other than D&D. So
Yeah. When you come to Funk, you usually come for one thing, and then you're leaving with the knowledge of like 5 others, or you get into
Yes.
5 other games.
Yes.
So So the long and skinny of it kind of is you are our customer, but we like to think that you also represent the shop very well. We always kind of point people to you as far as painting goes, looking for a game, whatever. Oh, have you met Kelsey, by the way? Because you're here almost every day.
Yeah, it feels
that true?
like, well, not every day, but many days. And sometimes not for very long as well. So, but also, I don't want to dox myself, but I live very close.
Yes.
So it's easy for me just to like swing by, you know, for like a little, I need a break, you know, from whatever. And so come in, hang out, you know, de-salt from whatever has made me salty, and then get a little vibe on.
That's what I do here. I desalt. I desalt. I'm a desalt master.
Yes.
Yeah, and then go back to, you know, whatever I was doing before. And sometimes I come and mostly I'm here on Saturdays for long periods of time, Friday afternoons and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, occasionally here and there throughout the rest of the week. So.
Yeah. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you when you pop in. Yeah. It's very cool.
Occasionally with a friend. A little furry friend.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Don't get me started. Tell the audience about your furry friend. Because
so I have a little kitty cat named Hazel, and she is harness trained, and she
I'm sorry.
walks on a harness, and she likes to come visit. So.
Yes. Speaking of cats,
Kelsey, it's great to see you.
Patreon. Oh, okay. Well, here's the shameless, needless, or shameless and needful plug.
Yes.
Folks, funkatronicrex.com. Please get at us. We've got all of our events on there. Discord, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, patreon.com/funkatronicrex. We've got 2 tiers. One is
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Give us $1 billion. The store is yours. I will be under your employment. I will do whatever. Give us $1 billion.
Court included.
Boom.
Boom.
I will do it. It's fine. I'll take this for the team. However, we also have Funkatronic Family tier for $15 a month. We will give you exclusive outtakes, which we're starting to put out now. We just did the Funkatronic Rex Store Jams Volume 1, which is 16 songs on a playlist that we selected, 4 songs each employee, gave it to you guys as an exclusive for Patreon members. If you can tell us which employee chose which song, we each chose 4, in correct order, I will give you a prize. So please, Patreon members, let us know. For the first person that does this correctly, I will give them a nice prize. Folks, thank you to our Patreon, I don't even know how to use patrons at Patreon, whatever. Thank you guys who support us on Patreon. We really appreciate it.
Patreon squareds?
Patreon squares.
No, that doesn't work.
No. Patrons of the Patreon of the
Patriotic patrons? No.
Thank you, Funkatronic Family tier members. We appreciate you. And listeners, we thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us rant and ramble and just have fun. It is a pleasure to be here as always. I'm so thankful that we've got our good friend Kelsey across from us recording. Michael's here. Mike, a.k.a. Lord Vader, is here. Mm-hmm. So thank you, folks. Please get at us. We want to hear from you as well. So moving forward with news and upcoming, AOS 4.0 coming out. Really good time to get into the game, guys. Also, I'm adding this kind of just on the spot, but isn't there a new Star Wars Unlimited set coming out? Michael, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
That's going to be my cheat for, again, time travel and whatnot.
Okay,
that's my hobby highlight. By the time this releases...
I know.
We will have traveled in time such that you will have cracked what? A case by then?
No, probably one because they didn't give us cases to crack.
So Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah, so it's set 2, Shadows of the Galaxy. This second set, so yeah, it's cool. This one seems to be more themed towards the underworld and the bounty hunters and stuff like that, and a big tie into Mandalorians and stuff like that. So me personally, for the set, oh sweet, more bounty hunters and Bosk as a playable leader.
Dude, that's you.
He's gonna.
That's
so
you.
This is this of all the sets they could have done is the set that has me the most excited. Yeah, I've been religiously keeping track of every single card spoiler.
Yeah.
To the point where I know exactly what cards I want for my deck, but just more to the point, it makes me want to crack packs. So, yeah, that's cool.
What's the date of release? Have they said it yet?
July 12th is official release. Okay. And so, again, time travel.
Ooh,
but
time travel.
this coming up Friday, at the time we're recording, is going to be the pre-release event.
Okay.
So I'll be doing that.
Sweet. Yeah, rad.
But yeah, that's my kind of cheat of hobby highlight. It's, hey,
Sure.
The new Star Wars set is sweet. All these cards for my deck. This is awesome. This, getting to, put bounties on stuff and like, oh yeah, this is great. So
Here, do you want to send yourself a message from the future or from the past? You can do it now. Michael, as you're listening to this, you are very happy with the new set.
it will be, you better have opened the Whamma Jamma Showcase Bosk so I can have it in my deck. That's it, it's not like it's more of a you got to get this done.
Yeah. Cool.
And it sucks because like if you look at all the showcase arts, normally they're all phenomenal, and then this one for my Bosk is not good at all. It's not good at all. They gets done dirty the most, like always. So Boba Fett or all the other binaries suck. So
Yeah.
it's okay because I'm gonna have this card, so I'm gonna get to showcase poor art. But like, hey, look, I got it. I did it.
Nice. Cool. Rad. Well, let's move right into hobby highlights then. And Kelsey, do you want to kick this off with us? What's going on in your hobby world?
I am currently doing some card painting. So I was inspired by a friend who did it initially, and she takes Pokemon cards and paints around and over the text of the art to turn them into full art cards.
Yes.
And so I have started to do that as well and picked that up following her lead, and am actually started another Mareep card tonight. So
nice.
I'm thinking about doing all of the Mareeps and to have like a little sheep set.
Okay, I was like, that's the pink sheep one.
Yeah. And
I knew that one.
There you
so do all the little sheepy boys, and but I do also some magic cards. I started on magic cards, and I also have been getting back into scrapbooking and collaging, and so
Sweet.
broke out my hot glue gun and some rhinestones and bejeweling some things. So that has been really fun. So that's what I'm currently doing, hobby-wise.
We're going to get into your card painting later on in the main topic, but how many have you done so far? Because I've seen most of what you've worked on, and it's how many cards have you worked on or completed with the full art?
Completed. I have completed 3.
Okay.
All the way through. But worked on is probably upwards of like 10 or 15.
Oh, wow.
But I also tend to be very like, okay, I'm going to doodle a little on this one and a little on this one and a little on this one. And then we'll not touch any of them for like 3 weeks. And then doodle a little on this one and doodle a little on this one. So it takes me several months to get through, a couple of cards.
Yeah.
Because that's just how, with the amount of time I have to hobby, that's kind of how I operate, which is one of the reasons I also don't do them for like commissions, because the pressure of having to get something done is like
living on somebody else's schedule is not fun.
Anxiety producing. Yeah. So I need to be a little bit more disciplined about sitting down and like doing a whole card, but sometimes also like inspiration doesn't hit me at the moment when, I'm like working on it. I'll get stuck, you know, creatively. And so then I'm like, I'm going to walk away and come back to it later. So
I feel like you just described most miniature painters' process
Sure,
as well.
absolutely. Or recording artists, like writing music. 100%.
I've got enough juju right now that I'm going to do 3 models, and I got 2.5 models in, and like, I'm kind of done with this right now, and walk away for a month.
Yeah.
I find that's important, though, to be able to walk away from it rather than just... Sometimes you have to power through if you're on a schedule or whatnot, but just the ability, the freedom to just go, I'm going to take a break.
Yep.
I feel like for me, that's the important thing of it being a hobby versus like a job.
Yeah.
Is because for me, it is a hobby. It is not my primary source of income.
Right.
In any form or fashion. And so, it's what I do to decompress. And sometimes decompression is arting. Sometimes decompression is playing Magic. Sometimes decompression is going to the gym. So it sort of depends on like what I need for myself personally with mental health. And so, and that varies from day to day. And so sometimes art can be very, very therapeutic. Sometimes the thought of having to sit down and paint something, I would rather do anything else than that. So, and because it's not my job, I can.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's very important, the mental health aspect that we talked about here, because we're going to obviously touch upon that in the main topic, but it being something that you can regulate because you're not required to do it.
right.
This is something for you. I choose when to do this and how it benefits me. Yeah, I like that. It's very good. And your work is stunning. I mean, I guess we haven't said it, but it goes without saying, really.
Your card alters are dope.
Yep.
They're dope.
Yep,
so
yep.
good.
The Lorcana one of Hercules just hanging off the side of a cliff.
Yeah, that.
It's like,
oh man.
What? That was a card? No, that's just Hercules. That's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single one I enjoy. The ice one, the penguin guy. That's one of my favorites. Which Pokemon is it?
Is Piplup.
What?
And Piplup. He's a little penguin.
Piplup.
Okay.
Piplup.
I don't know that one.
Yep. Okay.
And I did a little Pikachu snowman.
Yes. Oh,
So-
I love that. Yeah. That's rad.
But it's also, again, one of the unfinished. So not quite done yet, but yeah.
Well, we'll have pictures. We'll have pictures in the show notes, the links to pictures in the show notes, and also on our social media and everything once this airs. So, listeners, please check out Kelsey's work. It is phenomenal. It's very cool to see. Like you were saying, Lord Vader. Like where does this end and where does the card begin? Like where is the line? And it is so blurred you can't tell.
Well,
It's
and if
amazing.
you want to check out some other card art, the person who inspired me to do it, her name is Tabitha Sabatha, and
Cool.
that's her
Sabbatha, just like it sounds, like S. Tabitha.
like from Black Sabbath.
Oh,
So-
rad!
Yeah.
So two
Okay.
B's.
So so Tabitha with one B, Sabatha with two B's.
Okay. I would have spelled it.
And so, and she has an Etsy store. She's on Instagram, Twitter, social medias, and same thing, Tabitha Sabatha. And she posts all of her card art on those as well.
Cool.
And so, she's where I got my inspiration from, and she's also very talented.
Awesome. Sweet. Do we want to go with you, Michael, on hobby highlights? Or since you already
Wow,
kinda-
Star Wars deck. This Star Wars deck I built is sweet. Bounty Hunters, let's go. Hobby highlight.
Good. So my hobby highlight is twofold. One, I've jumped into Battletech, as we've mentioned previously, and I've gotten multiple games in. It's fantastic. I'm so psyched. I got to play with Joey the other day, who kicked my ass. I made so many bad moves because he either had really good beginner's luck and he knows what he's doing because it was his first game, or I made just some stupid moves, but he got mechs, jumped him over me, and gave me a prostate exam with a gun, basically, and just shot me in the back. Like, oh, this move would be great. Yeah, you can't get me here. No, you jumped 16. Boom. And he landed right behind me and destroyed me. It was very good. Joey, thank you so much for the wonderful game. It was a good time. And I also got to play Kenny the other day. I got to teach Kenny Battletech. He really enjoyed it too. So it's just really fun. I love the speed of the game where you can get it done quickly. You can get a game done in under an hour, basically. And I love that we've got the table set up for it. It's super fun. So it's been a nice hobby highlight for me to be able to play like a new game that I've been exposed to for years now, but never actually jumped into. And then the other thing is I've been painting with friends. It was awesome. I had Manny, Erica, and Sydney, and we were all painting at the table. It was fun. And Manny's painting his, can I say it? All right, I'll bleep it out if I need to. But his Tyranids, he likes to call them big nitty bitches. Oh, it's so good. And we were painting I was painting Necrons, and we had Erica was building Sisters of Battle. Sydney's painting some of Manny's big nitty bitches as well, and it was just rad. It was a fun time just to kind of sit and paint with some friends. So it was very, very good. So Lord Vader, what hobby highlights? What's going on, man? You've been busy.
Honestly,
been
my
super
hobby
busy.
highlight has to be I have been planning an event. I'm very excited with time travel and event planning. Yeah, I've been very busy planning an event, and I like seeing things come together. I'm very satisfied with the pieces all coming together. Tomorrow's a big day of we got to go buy provisions for said event. but things are coming together, pieces falling in place.
What is said event? It's already happened. At this
we're
point.
doing it. Time travel.
Time travel.
Time travel.
If I talk about it, it might implode, or is that just time cop? We are talking, of course, about the Frogtown Getdown, which has already happened, not happened yet. Not happened yet, already happened.
Time travel.
Teeny
Time travel.
robots. Giant, teeny robots. Teeny, giant robots. What?
What?
That's what I've been working on. Just a party, not enough sleep, because a lot of things to cook. Yeah, a lot of things. I've got a good plan for next year. One of the surprises I was hoping could happen this year, could not pull it together in time, but now I know what it's going to take for next year. So next year,
Okay.
I'm very excited about one of the additions that's going to happen next year. That's okay.
Okay.
This year's going to be rad.
Speaking of time travel, what if I get Aquafina to come next year?
That'd be phenomenal. That'd be phenomenal. Whoa. High five, 4th of July, fireworks.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Get your celebrity crush here.
No, I'm not talking about fireworks. I'm talking about fireworks.
Connection. Okay. Yep.
She's going to be like, that weirdo? Yeah, that's me, girl.
That or Keith David.
Keith David. That would just be like high five and like, tell me more. It's like, what do you want to talk about, bro? Pitch Black, let's go. Riddick, all right. I don't care. Just talk.
Man. I forgot he was in that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's right. Jeez. Man, I keep forgetting his list of accomplished movies is amazing. Well,
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Was
That's
it?
the conversation I'd want. Keith David, tell me the truth. Could you have taken Rowdy Roddy Piper? Who wins that fight in the alley for real? And They Live.
Oh,
Who
yes.
actually wins that fight?
Yeah.
I think it's Keith David.
I think so, too.
I'd put my real money on Keith David versus Rowdy Roddy Piper. Piper puts on a good show. I think Keith David's got the reach. A little bit
Did you
taller.
ever see that movie, Michael?
Nope.
No, this is okay. I feel like this is a new segment. Again, I always turn to Michael. Did you ever see that movie? Nope. Okay. They Live.
Have you seen They Live?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you know what we're talking about, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like a 5-minute sequence of one fisticuffs in an alley, and it just keeps going. And every time you think it's going to end, no, they pick it up again. It just keeps going. And it's like a WWF match, but on concrete, like smashing trash cans and like throwing people into pallets. It's raw.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
good.
It's a good fight.
Well, moving into rolling into things. So on a Nat 20, this has become like a full-on segment now, just because of in summertime we're inside, it's hot. We're like, what do we do?
We roll dice.
Roll dice, man. On a Nat 20, this happens. Boom, you roll it. It hits the 20. It's law. There we go. So I've got a few updates for our listeners here. Fun things that we've been doing for on a Nat 20. I've actually started a Google Docs here that just lists all of them, but we're going to go through a few that have happened most recently. I'm going to kick it off because I think I've explained it a little bit, but Lord Vader looked at me in the eyes and said, Court, on a Nat 20, for the rest of the year, you have to refer to me as Lord Vader. Otherwise, you owe me a Red Bull every time you slip up. Bam! Landed! Oh, no! Oh, so I have to call Mike Lord Vader.
Oh, Red Bull.
No, no.
That's three. Time travel time.
Oh, so I will be referring to him as Lord Vader until midnight of December 31st, 2024. Oh my gosh.
Unless you roll out of it.
Which, that's true, I can roll out of it.
Could
But
roll
here's the
out.
thing. By that time, I feel like that's just going to be your name. I've already changed it in my phone. Like, your name in my contacts list is Lord Vader.
Everybody else wants to adopt this. I'm not going to complain.
man.
I would not have a problem with this at all.
So I got to call you Lord Vader. Alex isn't here, but I'm going to announce this one for him. He got me bad. I mean, well, no, he got me good because I wanted this. It was funny. He looked at me with that like Alex little mustache look that he was kind of like, huh? All right. Court, on a Nat 20, we have this. It's the pirate flag you gave us, Kelsey, because I had it hanging up here, but I had to take it down because I accidentally hung it up in front of the security camera. So I took it down, and we had it out. And Alex looks at me with his little face. He goes, Court, on a Nat 20, for the entire month of July, you have to wear that pirate flag as a cape anytime you come into the shop. Landed! Oh, yes, get it. So starting tomorrow, time travel. Starting tomorrow, every time I walk into the shop, at some point I have to have the cape on, like this pirate flag as a cape. So he got me.
Do you want me to bring you a pretty ribbon?
Do you have one?
I do.
Okay. All right. Gosh, I hope I don't scare away customers with this thing.
A red ribbon, blue ribbon? What
Worth
color
it.
ribbon?
Red. I don't do blue.
Okay.
No. I'm a Liverpool fan. We don't do Chelsea here or Everton. No.
Yeah, don't walk alone.
You'll never walk alone.
A red satin ribbon.
Also,
yes.
we're not
Red
flying
sun.
Dodger colors.
No.
Well, it's more of a light eggshell. Robin's egg.
That screams
No,
Man City to me, and I don't do that.
Okay, no. Okay. Red satin.
Yeah.
Red satin.
Or Argentina, right? They're that light blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Baby
color.
blue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No thanks.
That's not a Dodger blue. That's a Father's Day blue. I'm okay with that.
That's a good way to put it.
That's like every Father's Day hat in the majors is blue. It has that color. Like this year's was like baby blue with the lettering in baby blue. And every year I'm like, it's cool that it's Father's Day. I'm not wearing that.
No, thank you.
Like those colors don't work for me.
Yeah. Well, for you, Kelsey, do we want to? Was this you, Lord Vader, that hit Kelsey with
It
the?
was.
Okay. Do we want to
Again.
talk about this? Yes. This is good.
First, I want to ask: were you ready for this? Were you expecting?
No.
Like just out of the blue. So Kelsey comes in the other day and she's having a moment with the man and the bureaucracy and work situations that many of us have been in before, where it just sucks to be a cog. It sucks to be part of the machine and not have all the control. And I'm paraphrasing with my own experience as a cog, not to diminish what you do for a company that I don't
Right.
know. But you were having a very human moment, just like, God, this job is frustrating me because I'm experiencing this corporate reality and I got a wild hair. All right. No, it turned first. First, we got onto Home Depot. Somehow it was like...
We got onto Home Depot because we were talking about because I work in a customer-facing role.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about the most ridiculous
the
thing.
insult that somebody had given you.
That we have heard. And this is actually not an insult that was directly given to me, but was given to a colleague of mine in the same position I'm in, where she was told that she was should go work at couldn't work at Home Depot, was so incompetent that she couldn't even work at Home Depot.
That's hurtful on many levels. Like,
It
that's hurtful
is.
to Home Depot employees, to this person. My gosh.
It's just an interesting slight where it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
really? What?
So I had shared that this was like the most ridiculous insult I've ever heard.
It is. It's a
that
silly
anyone
insult.
has ever heard. And based on this,
I ran with that with like, no, but like Home Depot's like a good place to get a job. It's like ranked
They're
nationally.
supposed to take care of you really well.
Dude,
Yeah.
they are absolutely a good company to work for. They hire all kinds. They hire across the spectrum for demographics. They care about your OSHA safety standards, all of that. Like they hit all the right boxes. So I was like, you know what? On a Nat 20, Kelsey has to start and take to like a proper, as far as you can. You don't have to take the job, but you have to apply and enter the Home Depot hiring process and take it to the fullest fruition that you can. Bam! 20! And within an hour, she's like, okay, so I found the job that I'm capable of. And that's a 6-figure salary. Let's go!
at Home Depot corporate.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed. Knocking on
Knock
wood.
on wood. Yeah.
I'm hoping it does work. Like, if nothing else, I would love to just have you come in and tell us, so I got a job offer. You don't have to take it. But still, just knowing, like, yeah, this lady said I couldn't work there.
yeah.
They're offering me 6 figures to do exactly that. That's rad. So, yeah, that's part of my string of hobby Nat 20 rules.
Man, you've been on fire.
And then you got me with one. I still
What was
I
it?
still owe you.
I don't know if I have it here.
That because we were talking about my friend who every year for their Christmas card, her and her husband go to JCPenney
right.
and take ridiculous glamour shots for their Christmas pictures. And so we were joking about going to get glamour shots at JCPenney. And so Court says, okay, on a Nat 20, you have to go do this. And then I threw in to my own volition at the last minute with my cat.
Yes.
And then it landed.
Bam.
Yeah. And so now I have taken it even a step further because ultimately my dream in life is to be a crazy cat lady. And so to start down that path, I have also bought us matching outfits.
I love it. I love it.
So I have to wait until fall because the JCPenney pet portfolio package is outside.
I thought you were going to say the critter collection.
The pet portfolio package is outside only, so I was like, I'm not going to subject us to this in the summer.
The fact that they use alliteration to sell the pet portfolio.
It's the P3, baby.
Let's go.
We three-peated, baby.
I was surprised that JCPenney still did that.
Oh, man.
Like-
Everything about this sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great.
So, but I have our little matching outfits ready to go. Yeah. So,
Do the off-leash pictures land in the After Dark episode?
I think we throw them in the Funkatronic family care package. Like a framed
Oh, no. We
photo.
make a calendar out of it. That's
Put
the
it on the
calendar.
calendar.
We have the Meta Funk calendar,
well,
but we do like the P3 calendars.
yeah. Well, they say you have 30 minutes and you can bring as many outfits as you
Oh
want.
my gosh.
So I might be able to get her into 2. You know, I think that might be like her limit. She may not-
I got all excited. Like, 30 minutes? How many outfits can you get? Maybe 2.
Maybe we can make her a little Funkatronic hat.
Yes.
Like a little black and red
Oh,
like
man.
funk hat
Yeah.
or something.
little baby hat.
Oh. Okay. This will be part of the Patreon gift bundle. It's going to happen.
Well, and
or
so
something with Patreon.
For LA Comic Con this year, I'm doing a Sailor Moon cosplay. So I'm
Cool.
thinking about if I can get her a Sailor Moon outfit. And then we can have...
just throw in the cat pack and you're fine. She's already in a space
just
capsule.
match, yeah. Or I could get the Pokemon
That's
cat
what I'm
bag,
saying.
and I could do Ash
Oh,
Ketchum outfit, and then have her in the Pokeball.
Yes.
So,
I love this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is great. So good. Yeah, so we're constantly having fun rolling the Nat 20s, and Lord Vader has been on a terror streak, which there's just so many. It's so many good ones. But what I want is I want listeners to message us with some Nat 20 requests they have. Guys, if you have Nat 20 requests or you've hit some on your own,
Oh, I wanna
please
hear.
let us know.
Yeah,
if you
I
guys
wanna
are
hear
playing
'em.
at home or in your own LGS, like I would love to hear what's going on with you guys. Do you have your own set of rules? Again, my goal is for this. I'm sorry, you just lost the game. I just lost the game. For this to
I
be
didn't.
a nationwide thing, like stores are just doing on a Nat 20. Oh, we made it this thing. We have house rules, whatnot. I want this to be played all over. So if you guys have funny on a Nat 20 stories, please come at us. Let us know. It'd be great to hear from you guys. Or if you have funny requests, we will try and get to them. So, oh my gosh.
I had a flashback to Can't Hardly Wait.
Ooh, what? I love that movie.
Call in and you can talk to the Barry Manilow himself. I was on the Coming Out Yeehaw, the brain wanders.
Dude.
Came around to Can't Hardly Wait.
Great movie.
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs! Michael, have you seen that movie?
Oh, it's so good.
All right, moving on.
Well, moving on to store lore. So time travel is real. Time travel.
Mm-hmm.
So Funkatronic Rex Frogtown Getdown has happened at this point. This was our 4th of July party. And
The 71st.
the
annual.
71st question mark?
Yes, annual question mark.
Annual question mark. As soon as we announced this, we had so many questions. What the hell is Frogtown Getdown? So, Lord Vader, I'm going to hand it off to you. Will you please regale us with the tale of what is Frogtown Getdown and why did we choose to call this event by that name?
I'm selfish, and if I'm going to make an event, I'm going to name it what I want. And it's called the Frogtown Getdown because that's what you do. You get down in Frogtown. Frogtown was where I lived in LA. It's this weird little triangular pocket. It's called Elysian Valley. It's just north of Dodger Stadium. It's this pocket that lies between the LA River and 2 freeways. 3 blocks would be the deepest it ever is.
Would you say it was Elysian? What?
Elysian Valley.
Elysian Valley. Okay.
But the cool thing was, it was a locals only hood that everybody was good with. Like, hey, you do you. Come as you are. You do you. Just don't mess with me. Don't, we take care of each other. That my neighbors would bring back my dog so regularly. My dog would jump the fence once a week, and one of my neighbors would bring back the dog. Whatnot. Awesome, awesome neighborhood. In the 70s, I don't know when, but in the 70s, and this was told to me by one of my neighbors, then I had to look it out. Oh, okay. In the 70s, the LA River, there was like a week of super crazy rain that flooded the LA River. And I want to say the LA River is maybe like a 2-mile stretch, if that, maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles runs past Frogtown. And when this flood happened, frogs just inundated the neighborhood and took over the neighborhood, and they couldn't get rid of all the frogs in the neighborhood for like 2-3 years. So the neighborhood just became known as Frogtown because you'd go to sleep every night to the croaking of frogs as if you were in like New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
Like you'd hear the croaking of frogs going to sleep. And so yeah, the town, like that hood became known as Frogtown to the locals, and otherwise it's Elysian Valley. And if you say anything Elysian in LA, you think of Dodger Stadium, if you know, because
Sure.
Dodger Stadium is Elysian Park, or Elysian Fields next to Elysian Park is where Dodger Stadium resides. So yeah, whatever. We started one year. I started throwing a 4th of July party because I like explosions in the sky. And in LA County, you can get fireworks that properly shoot up. You can get bottle rockets, and it's...
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they're illegal or not, but it's not like here where you'll actually get a ticket and get in trouble for rockets to go up. So we'd have proper bottle rocket fights across the street, and it would
Hell
just
yeah.
be it would be an all-night event of friendly battle with bottle rockets and the occasional burn and the occasional oh shit, tipped over and fell under the car, and now there's all sorts of pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a party every year, and it was fun, and it grew and grew and grew, and then I moved. And when I moved, I just stopped having the party. I haven't had a party in a while, and I decided we're having a party.
There
So,
it is.
4th of July, Frogtown Getdown.
Let's go.
Yeah. But you also have some Frogtown knowledge experience.
I do.
Yeah, tell us more.
So my friends live not in Frogtown, but Frogtown adjacent.
Sure.
And I did not realize how close they were until I saw a picture of them at Frogtown Brewery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
And-
That's Frogtown Brewery is 2 blocks away from my house, from where I used to live.
And they walk there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're on
nice.
the other side.
So, yeah, you
Yeah.
walk down my street, and there's a bicycle cafe that didn't exist at the time that's, like, right next to the LA River. Like, this is dope.
And have you visited there then, Kelsey?
have.
You have. You've been there. Okay.
Shepherd Ferry's studio is there.
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd
Oh, no
Ferry.
way.
Shepherd Ferry moved into a warehouse space like 3 blocks around the corner from my house.
He's the classic Obey street artist, if you guys don't know, for those listeners. But
I ran into him getting gas, getting coffee, and getting sandwiches. Just like he lived in the same hood. And I don't know.
he's amazing. That's rad. Cool. Store lore, Frogtown.
Frogtown
There it
Getdown.
is.
There it is.
Pineapple.
Your bottle rocket stuff reminded me of what we used to do on 4th of July, and just random times we would do human fishing, as we called it. This is my own little mini store lore, but it was actually backyard lore. We would take the idiot that I was in high school. Let's just say that my friends and I, we would go swimming in the pool, but we'd take bottle rockets and we we'd like pick one person, like, okay, you're going to be the fish this time. You'd swim back and forth in the pool, and we would take bottle rockets, pull the sticks off, so it's just the little actual firework part, light it, throw it on the pool, and the fuse usually didn't touch the water, and it would just, and then, and it would shoot into the water as this person's swimming around, and they're trying to go back and forth and avoid it, and you'd throw like 2 or 3 of them on there, and it would explode underwater. And you'd see this happen, and you try and get it as close as you can to them.
I love everything about this.
I was so stupid.
I love
No one got
about
hurt.
this.
I mean, I blackened the side of my mom's pool at one point with an explosion.
I
but,
mean,
It'll be
whatever.
fine.
you know,
It'll
it's
be
fine. So there we go. Well, geez, moving from stupidity into to some mental health here. The goal of this main topic that I invited Kelsey into, because I think this is very important here. We're going to form kind of how this works, but I called it gaming therapy. It's really focusing on why games in general, card games, board games, tabletop RPG, whatever it is, the stuff we do here, why it's beneficial to you socially, emotionally, mentally, like what it has done for each of us. And I've got some science behind it a little bit, but people think games, and yes, that's fun. That's great. There is a great social, emotional, and mental benefit to playing these games. And we talked a little bit about it in the shop, and we talked a little bit about it. We had some discussions on Discord and things. And Kelsey, your story kind of jumped out at me big time, so I wanted to bring you on, and I'm just so thankful that you're here and that you were willing to discuss your story with us, and Michael and Lord Vader and myself, and we're going to talk how we've kind of benefited from gaming as well. But what aspects of the community have provided positive change for us, socially, mental health, emotionally, whatever it is? So I want to just kind of kick this off to you, Kelsey. Tell me a little bit about, first, how you got to know us, because it's been a year, why you came in here, where you were at that point in your life, and what gaming has done for you, because we've seen almost a year now. You were a nerd before you came to us, like you said, but now you're on the ship of a bunch of pirate nerds.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about where you were in your life, nerd origin story, if you will, a little bit.
Sure. So I was always a nerd. I was always sort of into things that were sort of counterculture before counterculture was cool, I guess, if you would call it. And so I grew up with, I'm a scientist by training. That's my profession. But I was always a science nerd. And so was always a little bit awkward, a little bit odd. I grew up with a lot of other sort of awkward science nerds. And was exposed to games like Risk and Diplomacy, which actually you had to look up, which I was like,
I'd never heard of
I know a
Diplomacy.
board game that Court doesn't
Yeah,
know.
I
Like,
don't
what is
know.
this? So, and then card games, and like I said, that sort of thing. And so I had also then gotten into other types of sort of role-playing things that are not necessarily game related, and just as part of improv, acting, and things. I had a bunch of friends who were acting majors in college, and so got into sort of the counterculture there. And
Cool.
I went to a small liberal arts school for undergrad, and so was very much into sort of that aspect of things. And then went on with my life and went on sort of doing my school thing, and was really hard into school for a long time. And
This is in North Carolina?
this is in North
just
Carolina.
For context?
Yeah,
Yep.
where I
Okay.
grew up. And moved out to Arizona to get a job, and was into that, and was very much, into a professional world. But also was doing other sort of mental health things. I am very high-strung naturally. I'm a type A personality, high achiever, but it also comes with a lot of anxiety.
Okay.
And so one of my major points at that time to stress relief was through sports and activity. And I got into rock climbing and running and other types of enjoyable things, not only because they were good and to build endorphins, but also because they are interactive sports. You go to a running club, you have to rock climb with another person. It's a partnership.
Right.
And it's a community. And so you're there together as a group. And that became very important to me, not just for the physical activity that I was doing, but also for that connection. And I've also had a really hard time, have always had a really hard time connecting with somebody just off of the cuff, you know? So if you just like walk up to somebody, you know, a stranger and be like, okay, hi, you know, I don't have problems. I'm not shy. But then am very sort of fleeting, you know, sort of for that interaction to lead to a more meaningful long-term interaction or friendship. And so I always found that having something that was a shared activity was a good reason for friendships to develop and maintain.
Okay. Yeah.
And so for me, it was sports was the way that I did that. I got really into rock climbing. And then about 8 years ago, I had a very horrific rock climbing accident and broke my leg very severely. And have been dealing with that injury and recovering from that injury ever since then, and have slowly, progressively, as part of that recovery process, become more and more, I guess, less and less able to do those things. And so I had to find another outlet, to be able to replace that. And the point about a year and a half ago now, my job is very high functioning, and by that I mean it requires a lot out of you, both mentally and emotionally, and I deal with a lot of people and a lot of problems, and so it's like it's all like it has to be fixed right away, and so it's like very
high demand.
Yeah, high demand all the time. And so at that point, I was living on my own without a cat-free at that point, and had been living on my own for about 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months, and in my house by myself. I work remotely, so I'm at home by myself 24 hours a day, very isolated, and I can't go and do the things that I had previously done. I can't go rock climbing. I can't go to the running club because I physically cannot do those things anymore. And so I had been into D&D prior to COVID and had a great D&D group, and we played D&D a lot. I took very naturally to D&D because I had that improv background and that theater background, and so the mechanics of the game I learned, and for me as someone who's sort of a scientific brain, I picked up on very quickly, and the math I picked up on very quickly. So that was one thing, but that had sort of, after COVID, our group sort of disbanded and never really reformed. We played over Roll20, but it wasn't the same.
It's not the same.
A
lot of groups had that problem.
And so at that point, I was just like really struggling for something, anything to sort of connect me to reality and other humans other than people I worked with.
Right.
And I was also just really stressed out at work, and I didn't have any outlet to do it. And so I think actually my mom called here, the store, because I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I really don't. And so she was like, well, I, as your mother who love you, am going to take action, because she's an action lady.
Go, Mom.
And she's a bulldog. And if she gets her mind to it, she's going to do it. And so I think she called up here, and I guess like found out that you guys have the Adventurers League, D&D League. And she was like, she's like, you need to go check this store out, because they have a thing that you like to do.
Right.
And it is, has a minimal cost, which I will cover your mother if and she's like, you can pay for it yourself. I know you do. You make enough money to do it. But if like that's what it takes, like I will pay for it. And so I came up here, I guess like on a Friday afternoon or whatever, to like ask about it. And, you know, Alex was working behind the desk and he sort of gave me the rundown. And I was like, oh, well, like what else do you guys do? Like what else is going on? And so at that point, I was sort of also trying to get back into art is another mechanism of stress relief. And he was like, oh yeah, well you can paint minis and like do this thing. And so he like hooked me up with a Warhammer, the little two per set. And then I started coming in to paint minis and then sort of got roped into everything else. And it was at that point, the thing that like gave me life again. Was coming in and having a place to come and a place to be and other people, humans to talk to and interact with and laugh with and share experience with and learn from, and the things that thing that had been missing in my life at that point. And it really was, you know, that's what I had told you, was like it really saved me because I was drowning in isolation and in depression and anxiety and was so struggling to find anything to latch onto. And I mean, it really was that turning point that sort of said, okay, here's a thing that you can come, and even if you suck at it, like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, you have something to do and people who are going to encourage you and welcome you in and be excited to see you. And that was really what what I needed at that time in my life. And it really, you know, I learned a lot of things and got really into magic, and, which I took to, it like clicks for me, something about
word math chess.
Yeah, word math chess. And my brain works that way. And so I think that's why it like clicks that button in my brain for whatever reason. But yeah, so that's my story. So.
Lovely. So good. And I remember there's the first time that I'd met you in the shop was maybe that next Saturday or something. Kelsey comes in, I'm working. She just comes in and just strolls in and just goes right back to the painting table. And I was like, turning my head like, okay, can I help you with anything? Like, how you doing? Do you need anything? Like, no, I'm just here to paint. Okay, awesome. Hang out, paint, whatnot. And you went right to that table and just started painting, and it was rad. And I think that day or the next day or something, you left with like a box of terrain because Lord Vader then had shanghaied you with like you like painting? We've got terrain. Here you go. And you started an amazing job on this Sigmar terrain. And I remember going like, holy crap. And then just like every weekend you were in here painting away. And that was kind of like, you just pop in, drop off some baked goods that you had made for us, and you started painting. And it was so cool to see like you in your element. Mm-hmm. You know, it was you were in the zone doing something you thoroughly enjoyed, and you can tell. Like there was like a peace kind of that you had about you when you were painting. I just thought that was so funny and
it's
so
very cathartic.
So cool. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So.
And then you got into Magic. Wait, actually, let's go back a little bit. Did you end up signing up for Adventurers League?
I did not.
You did not? Okay.
Because Tuesday nights don't work great for my work schedule.
Okay.
So it's a scheduling issue. I love D&D. I would 100% play D&D with anyone at any point in time.
Yeah.
But Tuesday nights are just real hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
For me to commit to say I have to be here every Tuesday at 5:30. I just can't do that. So
it is a big commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you got into Magic as well.
I did. Well, you looped me into Warhammer first.
That's right, as I do.
And then, which I enjoy Warhammer, but it's like not. It doesn't like click the same way. I think for whatever reason, it just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't played enough of it yet, but.
Well, with 4th edition AOS coming out,
maybe we'll
get your night hunt going.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And then it was at the Christmas party, and you guys had a 3-pod, and I remember this very distinctly.
Okay. Yeah.
And you were like, Mike, was like, do you want to play? Do you want to be our fourth? And I was like, I don't know how to play. I've never played before. And he was like, I'll help you. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then Leanne came over and like helped me. So she was like proxying for me like through the game. And I was like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
And so then I sort of did some online like looking and reading and like learning, which is what I do. I sort of like, you know, I'm a scientist. Like I need data, you know, I need information.
Spreadsheets.
So, So I kind of like learned, I like watched some YouTube videos, like listened to some like podcasts and things online. I was like, I think I could probably do this. So then I bought a pre-con just to start out with to see how I do.
Which one?
And my Lenore,
the green white,
human coven.
She kind of looks like Maleficent almost. She's got the
And well, most I picture because she looks like a witch.
Yeah.
With the pumpkins, right?
With the
She has a
pumpkins,
bunch of
yeah. And that's like
Cool art.
totally my vibe. And so I was like, I don't know anything about what she does. I don't know any of these words because at that point I was still new.
Yeah, and keyword soup all over the place.
Yeah. I was like, I just like the way that this lady looks.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be my queen, and I'm gonna figure it out.
See, that's the way to play.
Yeah. And then I got a cat and dino white and green deck because I like cats and I like dinosaurs. So I was like, let's go. Let's put those two things together. Again, I'm not really sure. None of my decks are optimized because the way that I play Magic is that card's cute. Okay, cool. Let's put it in a deck.
Yeah. No joke. Like all of us, every now and then we're like, oh, that's a Kelsey card. Like we'll flip through stuff, we'll pull packs and stuff. And it's like, cute little cat. Kelsey, little unicorn, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Like weird little, it's like a hedgehog thing or something in one of the newer ones. Oh, that goes to Kelsey.
Yeah. So, and then, I just sort of started like building, and then I like to crack packs because I have a Pokemon background, and so
And the lottery's fun.
Yeah. So then I ended up with like just like a bunch of cards. So then, and being a person who was taught never to leave anything behind, never leave scraps behind.
I feel
make everything out of
we don't
every
waste.
bit.
We don't waste.
So I was just like, well, I have like 500 cards sitting here. Might as well make some decks out of them. And so just like would buy a commander that I liked and then fill the deck with whatever random cards I had.
That's my people. I love it. That's exactly.
And then,
look, 64 cards. Add land. There's a deck. We'll try it.
Let's go. And then, so then I would just play it and be like, well, that sucked. Okay, let's try it.
This can be better. We'll find something better.
We've heard these words before.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I am currently in my Magic adventuring is, and now I'm good enough now to like I understand what things go together, how to optimize and make things work together. So I'm slowly getting more efficient at that.
Yeah.
So still a work in progress. But
Baby steps.
baby steps.
I'm going to open up to you guys. Have you found, clearly with Kelsey's story, just finding a place, finding something to do, finding a place that you belong and you're included in? Like, have you guys experienced a decent amount? I'm going to ask myself that question, like the social inclusion, the mental health aspect of gaming, the human connection. Like, you guys find that to be something that's apparent in your life, or at some point in your life where like, yes, this is beneficial? And that's a heavy, weighty question.
Yes. And like, I'm going to try not to, now it's my turn to do the talking. I'm going to try not to take too much time, but
no, Michael, go for it.
It's funny that one of the coolest things that I found about working here is just how you can make these, Kelsey, obviously I didn't know you my whole life or whatnot, but it's cool seeing the connections you can make with people and how similar everything can be. So yeah, I'm going to need
You're good. I love it. Yeah. It's a heavy thing.
I'm going to need a sec.
It's fine, okay? Man. It's fine.
No, so to begin, I think, I'd like to say I was lucky in that I had a good childhood upbringing and whatnot. Made a bunch of friends, made a bunch of good friends. It was funny because, like, in the stringy neighborhoods that I lived in, down in Tolleson, there was a lot of kids around, kind of like my age to like, it was, the youngest was like my brother's age. He's like 3 years younger than me. But it was like from there up until my older brother, who's only like a year and a half older for me. But there was a lot of kids in these strings of neighborhoods, even on our street, that were the same age. So I was lucky in that, like, cool. It was legitimately the gang of kids in these neighborhoods would get together. We play games and whatnot. Made a bunch of good friends. And then in school, was able to find my cut of people and, had a bunch of friends. And then 2017, I moved down here to Phoenix. It was a bit bummed out just because, I had lived my whole life. I started kindergarten at the school I went to, and then I graduated 8th grade. But like these people that I had come to know, a lot of these kids I had known from kindergarten going into 8th grade. So there was just, again, I found my cut of people and, had a good social environment. But then we moved here to Phoenix, and then, that kind of got thrown out the window. I was, still friends with all these kids, but I can't see them every day like I used to. I can't go to their house because we're all the way across town and whatnot. So coming here, it was like, oh, cool. Well, I don't have my friends, but I have my Magic cards because at the time I had gotten into Magic. And then that's how, looking up game stores near me, that's how I found this place. And that's how I started coming here. I was like around 2 years after that, I had like very unfortunate life circumstances that happened that in a way, like for me as a person, it kind of sent me back. Before, it didn't help that I fucking hated school. So like I didn't really make it an effort to go make a bunch of new friends and I was in high school. So just, moody teenager and whatnot. I, got lucky. I struggled when my best friend now, Sammy, when I met him, just because he was, again, my people. Anything I got into, I could always con him into it, getting into it. So I always had one friend that I could, do all this stuff with. And then it was the same thing. I kind of struggled with, struggled a lot with self-isolation, struggled a lot with, self-hate, super into depression and whatnot. But the one thing, the one good thing that kind of helped me to, continue feeling human was discovering this place and just getting to meet a bunch of like-minded individuals during this, hard period in my time. I didn't really seek out to make friends or whatnot. If I was home, I just wanted to be in my room all day, whether it was just playing video games on my phone and whatnot. I didn't want to have people interaction with, the small exception, again, Sammy, he is my boy. So I started, one of the few things that I would do that I think helped me a lot was I would make it a point to be here as much as I can. So it was a good way for me to help start breaking down, the walls of self-isolation. It helped me in a way kind of like therapy, where it helped me, and it still does, deal with depression and, the self-hate and whatnot. And then when I started working here, I think that was my big turning point, because now, cool, I had a job, so I had a commitment that I had to do. So it, gave me one other reason to wake up in the morning so I can get ready, go to work, sell people things and stuff like that. And so I feel like it also kind of helped me develop my social skills. The way I approach this all is cool, when someone comes in and they're looking for something, this is I don't want to say master, but this is my domain. This is where I feel most comfortable. So just having that confidence of no, I know what I'm talking about. These people are going to look at me for questions and they're going to, ask for my advice or whatnot. So I kind of took that and this is my domain. I know what I'm talking about. So it made it super easy, just the confidence boost in that, oh, cool, you don't know Magic? Well, it's okay, because I do, so I'm going to help you out. So that definitely helped me, again, rebuild my social skills and whatnot.
And I definitely can relate to that, having somewhere to go and somewhere to be, because that's what it was for me. It was just it didn't matter what I was, for me, it was easy, because I was just I'm going to bring my little box with my little terrain piece and my little paints, and I'm just going to come and sit and be around other people. And so it was and I had to force, it was very similar for me, Michael, was that I was I had to force myself to I'm going to be here, Saturdays and Sundays and paint for 2 to 3 hours just to not be in my house anymore.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter what else was going on. I was this is what I'm going to do. And I just told myself you have to go. Like, you don't have a choice. And so actually, like, you know, Mike being like, here's some terrain for the store, like, kind of gave me like a little bit of that, like, I have to do this. Like, I have a thing to do now. And so, yeah. And so it like the master planner. Yeah. And so it kind of gave me that, like, oh, I have something to work on. I have something to do. Like, it gave me that purpose, that like reason to not be stuck in my head. And so I definitely relate to that.
Yeah, you know, that's something I still definitely struggle with. I feel like a lot of the reason why I'm quiet is probably because my head's lost in space somewhere thinking about, you know, XYZ. But again, this place and just like the hobby, and I say hobby, but it's more like when I say this place, I mean just the everything, the Warhammer, the Magic, all the games, the friends or whatnot. This place, like, this is what saved me from like where I was headed and whatnot. And seeing how, you know, years later, how life events ended up happening and whatnot, I am happy to say that like this place helped me stay human. So it was just cool to see like how far I'd come. You know, I had made the friends that I had, you know, not to like replace, but I had made the friends that could slot into my life the way, you know, all my friends and whatnot were when I used to live in Tolleson did. That was definitely, I feel like, a big thing that was missing. You know, it's hard to explain, but there's something about this place during the good, during the bad, during the everything that just makes it magical. And like, it's hard to quantify, again, just how magical this place is, just how it's some voodoo, I don't know if someone casts a healing spell in this place, but no, just this is what makes me have a smile on my face. And again, I can't explain why, but this is the magic, and then this is what pushes me in life. I'm sorry if it's all over the place, but again, I had rehearsed this so many times, and then of course come to the time of, and it's like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. But yes. I tried to, No. It was good to see that, like, I'm not the only one that struggles, and I'm glad that, from what it sounds like, this place is as much magical to me as it is to everybody else. This place is what saved me, and so I want to be part of the reason that this place saved someone else, or that this place is that beacon of light, that candle that, you know, kept me going this, you know, all this time.
Yeah. Well said, Michael.
Again, I'm sorry if it's like all over the place, but
thank you for your vulnerability and being open and honest and
lore dump.
There it is. I love it. But
what'd you call me?
This place has a tendency to bring really great healing to broken people, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. And hearing your guys' stories, it's very similar. I think the four of us at this table are all broken people. Again, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. Like, we're all broken. And to try and briefly share a little bit for me, like, I was a customer before, and I love games. I've been playing board games for years. One thing, I'm a very social person. I'm pretty outgoing. I'm pretty loud and opinionated, and I love people. One of my little story highlights, I'll say, is there's two that really stand out. I was running the first time I ran a narrative campaign was not in this store. It was in my living room with my friend Eric and Tyler and Daniel and me. It was the four of us, and I had like done my little path to glory. Like, here we go, guys. We're going to play Age of Sigmar. I have 2 tables set up for us, and I've got this little map, and we're going to do our own little path to glory campaign. And they were committed, and I was too. It was great. We played for like, I don't know, 4 games or something like that. And I had the music going, and it was in my living room, and it was so janky, but the willingness that these guys had to play and the social inclusion that we had and the dedication that we had to each other was palpable. Bringing that here and now running 9 tables, 18 players with a map that I created with a story that I had written, and now multiple times doing this and seeing the joy that this brings to others gives me purpose. Gives me purpose to get out of bed when I don't want to. And when I get out of bed daily with anxiety, 100%. And anxiety is something I hadn't dealt with in high school. Depression was, but anxiety wasn't until 2017 maybe, and then it really hit 2020. But now running campaigns here, and being able to bring others into the fold, into the hobby, and guide everybody. Every other Saturday, we're doing the campaign, or once a month, Lord of the Rings, and we've got it going. Seeing the social inclusion, seeing friends, friend connections and friendships being made through this, and then hosting and being able to be creative and having it go from me and 3 friends in my living room to 18 players now with a full map, and is a huge help to my self-evaluation with worth. That's something I struggle with, is my self-worth and where do I find that. But being able to say, I did this, I'm proud of it, it's wonderful, I have a reason and I have a place to be creative and to love on other people. And that's Funkatronic Rex. The other one that's really big for me, and that's a moment kind of like you guys were pointing out, was a few years back, about 2 years back, I was hanging with Andrew, I believe, the Rat King, as we call him here, and I had busted out Lord of the Rings, the living card game, as I always brag about, one of my favorite games. And I was like, well, man, why don't I just teach you? So I taught him the game. We fucking lost. Like, we got slaughtered in this game. It was like, I think it was the massing at Osgiliath. It was rough. And then I taught Jared, who we were all playing Magic around this time. And then I taught Gianni, and we all kind of were like, should we do this? Like, do we want to play? And I was like, well, guys, like, I've got every card. Like, I've got all the campaigns. Like, I've got a great table at my house. Like, why don't we play one night? And we did, and they all loved it. And this is a game had sitting on my shelf for years, like probably 8 years, and never had anybody that really wanted to play. And I didn't have many gaming friends at that time. So I suggested, like, after this, hey, do you guys want to do the campaign? Like, we could do every other Saturday night or every Saturday night, once a month, whatever it is. Like, come over and we'll eat pizza and play this game progressively. They're like, yeah, well, I think so. Maybe we'll think about it. And then that week, like, I texted them, and I had a group text. Oh, I'm going to get misty-eyed here. I sent out a group message, and I don't know if I've mentioned this in the podcast before, but I sent out a group message to Andrew, Gianni, and Jared. And I said, like, guys, do you want to do this? Are we up for this Saturday? Do we want to start the campaign? We'll create decks. We'll see this through from Fellowship to Return of the King, play through all, I think it's 18 quests. And it felt like I rolled up a snowball and thrown it into hell and just see if it would last. Like, let's see if these guys are committed, interested, and really want to do this. And I hadn't played games regularly, and I really needed that, like, core group again that I was rebuilding, because I had lost a lot of friends for good reasons, to be honest. Like, and within not 60 seconds, I get a reply from one of the guys, and it's the GIF. It says, "You have my sword." 30 seconds later, "You have my bow." Another 10 seconds later, "And you have my axe." And I had all 3 GIFs in the text, the group text, and I burst into tears. And I was so thankful that I had found these guys that were just so willing to be my friend and play this. And it's been, I think, 2 years now. I have Polaroids on my fridge from when we completed Fellowship of the Ring. I have the date. I have Polaroids on my fridge when we completed 2 Towers. I have the date marked. And now we're working on the last 3 quests of Return of the King. The inclusion, the stability that I've found by knowing that, yep, at least once a month I'm getting together with my friends and we're going to play a very silly card game that's very nerdy. And no matter what, these guys are going to love me. And no matter what, I'm going to love them. It's the greatest feeling going to work, knowing that I get to see the people I love every day. And this is my job, because I love every single one of you guys. Michael, you've been a great friend. You've listened to me when I've been crying a ton, and you've always been there for me, which is why you're part of this tattoo. And if you know, you know. And Lord Vader has given me chance after chance after chance after chance, and has always been inspiration to me, truthfully, and has allowed me to be in this place that you've built and created. Kelsey, again, I'll never forget that day you came in, just pop, going right to the paint table. And every time you walk in, you shine. You shine in this place, and you make my job better because I get to see the people I love. I love each of you guys, and I'm so thankful to be in your guys' life. So
I think to touch on something that you mentioned specifically, Court, and I think you were alluding to, Michael, about self-worth. And I think that's something that the gaming community, at least this gaming community, really brings into light, and not necessarily how good you are at the thing that you are here to do, but the fact that you as a person are here is what is valuable. And so I think that is something also that I came to be aware of the more time I spent here. It became aware that it didn't matter what we were doing, and it didn't matter if I was good at it or if I was terrible at it. As long as I was having fun and engaged and participating actively, that was what was valuable. And it was me as a person who was valuable. And that was something that I had really not had before as well, because in everything else, you know, I've always been very one-track driven, in that I was very focused on getting to my career. And I went straight through to school. I went straight from high school directly into college, directly into my graduate program. I literally submitted my dissertation on Friday afternoon and started my postdoc on Monday morning. I took zero time off. And then I was in a postdoc directly. I took a month. I gave myself a month between postdoc and starting my first real job, adult job. But I have
See, Mike, I gave you a whole year.
And so, but it had always been, what can you do for me? And that was where my personal value lay in, was what value I could bring to other people through what I could perform. And I think one of the reasons I was drawn to rock climbing originally, because of the social interaction, but also because it is grade chasing. You are going for that next grade. You are training harder. You are going harder. If you're not getting better, there's something wrong with you. That's the sort of the mentality within that sport and competitive sports in general. So I was very familiar with that driven attitude of everyone here we're not just here to hang out and casually play and do whatever and hang out. We're here to climb hard. We're here to go hard. You know, if you're not bleeding at the end of a session, you did not train hard enough. You know, it was that mentality. Yeah. And so for the first time in my life, I sort of found a place and a group of people where it was it doesn't matter if you screw up. You're still going to be awesome. And be reinforced that it's okay that you screw up because you're still awesome. And I think that's a very rare mentality, at least for me, is a very rare mentality to have of, it's not how good you can play Magic or how good you can play board game X or whatever. Yeah. It's the fact that you're willing to come and to play and to have a good time. And that's where I, as a human, have value, is in just being who I am. And I had found that sort of vicariously through another community around the same time, that I think gave me the courage to sort of be open to that idea. But again, they're all remote. So, we all live distant to each other. So we're together, but not in person. And so I think, again, having that, as a human connection, to actually come in and physically be around other humans who have that and give you that sense of comfort and self-value, self-worth, that, is very, for me, was very healing in that regard. So
let me ask you this, Lord Vader. As the proprietor, somebody who you built this from the ground up, what's it like?
On rock and roll.
You built this city on rock and roll. What's it like seeing a community form from something that you've created?
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I bet.
I grew up an only child in the 80s. I had a very different experience from Michael growing up in Tolleson. I did not have a street worth of kids to pal around with. There was 2 girls across the street that were like 3-4 years older than me and wanted nothing to do with me and my G.I. Joes. I was an only child. I spent a lot of time playing video games and reading books and just doing all the comic book nerd shit, collecting Marvel cards, anything I could find at the comic book store to keep myself occupied was what I was into. And high school came around and you realize real quick, wow, everything about the society we live in and the culture I'm growing up in says that per the Disney/ESPN media machine that had already started, everything I was into was nerd, and nerd was not cool yet because Stranger Things was still 30 years away. I don't know, it was uncomfortable being a nerd in the 80s. I think the show and other, I mean, it just was. It was, I don't know, it was a weird space. And I appreciate nerd stores because nerd stores are the only place I ever felt on equal footing and or a valued peer. I sucked at sports and I didn't understand them well as a kid. I didn't have that competitive drive. Like, I don't give a fuck. I came to throw the ball and I suck at catching it. Like, I'm trying. Trying was never good enough. It's like, this is pre everybody gets a trophy for showing up. So like, I found the only place I was really comfortable was with other nerds. I think everybody on earth wants to be good at something. I can accept that I'm not good at everything. I want to be good at something. And I feel like gaming and nerd bullshit and knowing who appeared in what movie when it came out before Michael was alive, these things that itch my brain and other nerds can appreciate, I think the majority of people cannot. And I think the majority of people, at least until recently, there was no value to being, unless you were Matt Pinfield, knowledgeable in pop culture.
Right.
Like, how is that anything that anybody values? And so I just always, like, through high school, I felt on the outside of most circles. Because everything that I am intelligent and well-read in is Stan Lee related, and you couldn't give a fuck less. I don't know. It was different times, and like now, I think, lucky me, Marvel's a thing, and everything that I was into as a kid has grown like aged like fine wine, and like now I'm cool because I know all this nerd shit. But again, I think my relationship with this place is based in a different, like, I'm not a participant in this in the same way in that I came looking for a place where I felt accepted. I'm a participant in this in that I realized that people like me exist and want to feel good. Like, it sucks being in the minority of anything, and realizing that the world doesn't cater to your minority, whatever that minority might be. There's fly fishermen out there just frustrated as fuck, not enough rivers, whatever it may be. It's weird when that's compounded by generations of media. I don't think fly fishermen have ever been mocked in really formative ways based on their desire to fly fish. And the 90s was an interesting time where being a nerd was still not quite cool yet. And again, I think my position in all of this is I have found my niche in society. I've found a comfortable, quote, place where the wholeness of me can exist in that, hey, I get to be my own boss. I get to not eat shit from the man. I get to be around like-minded nerds. But at the end of the day, my reason for being here is different than what we're talking about. Like, I realized the need. There's more nerds out there without space than there are spaces without nerds. And combined with, I don't want to work for somebody else, and combined with everybody, myself included, wants to feel good at something and wants to be the expert of something and wants to, I mean, I can't even say that it's necessarily I want to help. I don't know how I'm helping humanity by teaching games, but like, I think everybody just wants to be the expert in something. I found a way to throw all that in a blender and like, hey, look, I can pay my bills. And so I appreciate what everybody else gets out of it. And I think to a certain degree, I did roundabouts aim for that. I wanted this place to be your third space, like a Starbucks. I wanted it to be a comfortable place where you would go to between work and home. I wanted it to be the place where you'd find friends. I like bars. That said, I hate trying to socialize in a bar. Socialize, especially post-pandemic, socializing in a bar sucks. I like bars. I like the everyman nature of a bar. I love the fact that you can be around 100 people and be left the f alone and be completely alone if you want in a bar. That said, there's a different vibe, and alcohol tweaks it as well. This is Christian will time travel and say it later that this place is based on Cheers, where it should feel comfortable like a bar and you should feel welcome and open and like, you do you. I don't give a f. Just don't talk about religion and politics and we're good, you know? But I have a very different relationship with the store. And so for me, like, it's a dicey subject. My mental health is wrapped up in this place in very different ways. If anything, I'm glad everybody else feels, I guess, the catharsis that can come from here.
I think it also, one of the things that I think that makes this store particularly different from other stores I have gone to or other places I have been to is I think you're coming at it from that place that I think a lot of us come from, which is where we were that nerd and we were that ostracized person and we have come from that trauma and experienced that. And so I think what, you know, you bring or the vibe that you try to instill in people like Court being the face and the voice, and like Michael coming in and saying hello and welcoming us in as customers, you know, a lot of us come in with that sort of that shell, that protective, because we've been ostracized before. You know, we've been poked at, we've been made fun of, we've been told we're not cool or we're not, you know, our thing is not cool or our thing is not, you know, we should be made fun of for that thing. And so I think the fact that when you come in, it is that very welcoming. It doesn't matter what you like, as long as you're cool, like, we're going to support you in that. Yeah. And I think that is one thing that, you know, really struck me and helped me or want to come back was the fact that, you know, Alex and Court and Michael were all so welcoming and wanted to help and, you know, said, oh, hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Like, I'm glad you came in today, because that was something that, you know, coming from a place of being, you know, weird kid from, you know, the 90s, you know, had experienced that and was, you know, and I was going to say, Court, that the most terrifying thing as someone who is that nerd is sending that text message that you sent that said, hey guys, do you want to come over to my house and hang out? Because that, like, no one's going to want to be my friend. No one's going to want to hang out with me. Like, that is, I think, for a lot of us, you know, we have been in that. And so I think that is one thing that I think the store in particular, and gaming in particular, is that if you're having a reason to be somewhere where you are with like-minded people, with you are like, you know, similar, whether it be Warhammer or D&D or Magic or whatever it is, you can come in and have something already in common with those people, which is also helping to bridge that, bringing down that wall. Yeah. And, you know, I had a very different experience with like going to places like bars because I'm not really sure what to talk to about with people, and I'm never sure like I'm not really sure who I'm going to sit next to, and I'm like, I don't know, like maybe you're going to be a terrible human being. I'm not really sure, but like I feel like the people who come to a game store and who are at least one. I have one less thing to worry about because
That's
the
fair.
people who come to game stores are going to generally not be terrible people. And so, you know, mostly. And so we all may be a little weird. We all may have our own like weirdness, but at least we're all weird together, you know? And so like it's sort of the accepted communal vibe of like everybody's a little odd, but that's okay, you know? And so I think that's one thing that, at least for me, you know, means a lot and meant a lot as well. So
I agree. We're all weird pirates on this shit, man. And as much as we can kind of go back and forth of how we feel and all this, like I've got some statistics here, and this was one thing that stood out to me, and we talked about social benefits, but there is a literal mental health benefit, a cognitive benefit to playing board games. I did some research on here. There is a direct connection between playing board games, your development of cognitive learning, and it could actually, how do I phrase this? I'm looking at it here, but like lowers blood pressure, reduces stress, builds communication skills.
Not with GW rules and magic fucking rule 420.3. What the
Tax filing.
How about your reading? But there's a direct link between lowering the risk of Alzheimer's and playing board games.
Yes, it staves off dementia.
It does.
Alzheimer's.
It does. And if that's not enough of a benefit, I think also, I mean, we don't play games for that sole purpose, but it is a benefit. And I'm looking at a survey that was over 1,100 U.S. adults. And the reports show that in the survey, 29.6% found an increase in confidence. 36.8% had the key benefit of a better social life. 40.8% experienced better mental health. 47.8% had reduced stress. Probably not Magic players. 50.6% had more opportunities to socialize. And with this, it also showed that in this survey, what board game players value, what they valued in this was 4.3% said they value the factor of killing time. It's a time killer. Great. 12.5% said that the factor was learning new skills. That's what I enjoyed, learning new skills. Great. 16.8% said winning. Yay, we won. Good job. That was what you enjoyed. 65.3% said the benefit factor was having fun. The barriers to playing board games, 23.4% was that they had nobody to play with. Almost a quarter of these folks had nobody to play with.
It's a lot of only children out there.
There you go. And I understand that there may be geographical barriers and all this, of course, but to round this out, I would love for that percent to be much lower. That we provide a space where people can come in, whether it's their mom made the call and found out that there's D&D on Tuesday nights, but that you can come in and get a game, learn a game, find a new hobby. Hobbies are often looked at as just time killers, like the percentage showed for 12 point whatever. But it's not. It's a social inclusion. It's emotional, mental health. There's benefits to your life. And Funkatronic Rex offers that space where you can come in and have somebody to play with and have somebody to joke around with and laugh and roll dice and move plastic toy soldiers across a table, you know, or pretend you're slaying a dragon, whatever it is.
And I think that's one of the things, at least for me, that one of the reasons why it's so mentally health beneficial is because, and you know, you kind of alluded to this, Michael, so I'm assuming that you're probably very similar to me in this nature, is that I have like, my brain will not shut up. Like it's just constantly like on overdrive 100% of the time. But if I'm actively doing something that my brain is engaged with, I at least have a respite from that for whatever period of time that I'm in that game. And so I think that's one of the things that really drew me to games in particular. And I think it's maybe why like Magic clicks that button for me, is because it's got enough fast pace. It's got enough like mental thought logic. I have to kind of think about what order to do things and how to do stuff, and being aware of what the other players are playing, and knowing that. I think it clicks that where I can stop thinking about everything else because I have to focus on this one thing, that's right in front of me. And so it sort of pushes out the noise long enough, and then my brain kind of gets a little bit of a break, from that. And that's definitely something I think. And again, and I kind of have spoken to you, Court, about this before, but not all board games are the same.
Right.
And not all board games click the same way and add the same benefit. And so sometimes it's, you need a slower pace for whatever it is. Sometimes you need that fast pace and that click, and it's going to be different for every person. It's going to be different on every day. And so, and I think one of the other things that for D&D that sort of one way that I was able to, one of the reasons I was drawn to D&D so much was because I did feel like an outsider, and I did feel like I didn't belong anywhere. I did feel very, outcast. But for when I'm in D&D, I can pretend to be somebody else, and I can embody that and be that person that I envision that I want to be elsewhere. And so it gives me the opportunity to embody that a little bit so that maybe that can carry over into my real life. And so I think that was a lot of what I drew from D&D as well. Not only just I enjoy it, I find it fun, but it also brought something else to me that I was able to sort of work through some of my own, issues of the time through that character. And I know I have heard other people who play D&D a lot speak to that as well. And plug to the actual past because it was on the D&D podcast. Talking about, when you create your D&D character, you put a little bit of yourself in them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the other things that, you can sort of, it gives you the opportunity to be that better person, be that hero, be that whatever.
I'm the exact opposite. I can be as foul-mouthed gambler as I want, baby.
But, to be that other alternate version of yourself that you can't be in real life, and for whatever reason. And so I think that was one of the things that I really also really enjoyed about D&D. So that was...
You could be a time-traveling baseball player.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Woo! Heavy episode. I like it. It's good. Well, I'm just rounding out here. Like, I'm so thankful. Like, I a year ago, I didn't think we'd be where we are now. And I think that this place kind of proves fun little dreams can happen. So I'm so thankful to have you here, Kelsey, hanging out with us on the Funkatronic Rex podcast. Wow, it's still weird to say it, but thank you. Thank you for being here. Michael, thank you for opening up. I know it's not easy. These are topics that aren't always fun to talk about. I think it's very important. By you opening up, it allows the possibility for somebody else to go, yep, I feel that way. And maybe I can walk in here now. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Time travel.
Time travel's real, man.
Moral of the story.
That's it. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, listeners. This was a very special episode, just kind of opening up a little bit. And we appreciate you guys so much listening to us, supporting us, coming into the store, or whether you're in a different country listening to us. Thank you, Germany. We know there's a few of you out there. Thank you, South America. Thank you, all the folks that are listening across wherever you are. I look at the stats. I'm so excited to see new downloads, so excited to see new states, countries, wherever it is. And you got something there?
If you're in a spaceship in cryosleep and the spaceship travels through space X amount of years, let's say 57 years floating through space in cryosleep, have you time traveled? Salt-based paper, though. Just
listeners, if you have an opinion on that, get at us.
It's called time traveling.
There it is.
I just went into cryosleep. I woke up 57 years later. They said, Ripley, your kid's dead. Sucks to be you. You want to go fight this alien?
You're going to go to Wipeout, not bring back.
Did IQs just drop sharply?
Oh, man. Thank you guys for listening to us. We really appreciate you. Please get at us, funkatronicrex.com. 602-531-0433. Call the shop, but...
And don't call too late. You know, I'll be stripping in the evenings.
So good. That was Lord Vader's idea. Phenomenal. Discord, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. Thank you guys for getting at us. All of our friends and family members on Patreon, patreon.com/funkatronicrex. Please support us if you can, guys. We really appreciate it. We want to reward you guys with some fun, exclusive stuff. And at the end of the year, we're going to give you guys a care package full of really cool goodies. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Cool. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Dig it.
This episode is dedicated to Andrew Perkins and his wonderful family. Andrew, thank you for all the love and joy that you shared with us. We'll miss you, buddy.
Thank you for listening to the Funkatronic Rex podcast. You can find more of the funk at funkatronicrex.com, Facebook, Instagram, Discord. If you'd like to support us and the shop, please join us on Patreon by becoming a patron of the funk. If you're in the Phoenix area, please swing by. Come check us out. We would love to meet you and get a game in. You can also reach us by sending an email to shop@funkatronicrex.com. Stay up, stay true, and don't forget, stay funky.